Let's go. Good morning. My name is Jean. I'm Jean Lustosa. I'm a psychologist and I work at Caixa Econômica too. I work with management training, uh, and I was invited to present to you a family constellation. It's a systemic approach. It's a technique that I use in my private office, and it's very interesting the way the solution comes to us, right? So let's see here. A family constellation is a therapeutic method created by Bert Hellinger. He was he is a German, and it attempts to review a previously unrecognized system dynamic that spans multiple generations in a given family. In other words, when we have a family constellation that I will show you with these dolls here in a minute, we can see that each family has a dynamic. Your family has a dynamic, his family has a dynamic, his family, my family. So it's a kind of structure that the problem is not my problem. When I go to looking for a psychologist, I have an issue, I have a problem, but that problem is not my only problem, it's my family problem. So we can see that through this structure, we can understand the dynamic of the family through the relationship that exists between the members of the family, all the components of the family. And it shows while much of psychology concentrates on exploring the conflicts in one's childhood, Hellinger's work examines the tragedies in one family. If you go to a psychologist nowadays, the first question he will ask you is, how was the when you were a child? Any trauma happens to you? It's normal, it's common. Hellinger says, who has been excluded from your family? Excluded? Yeah, because of a crime, because of a suicide, because of someone who got pregnant without a marriage, something that make the family be ashamed of that one. And when it happens, you don't talk about that people anymore, so it's excluded from the family. And Bert Helling comes exactly to include this person, right? Someone who committed suicide. It's terrible for the family who has a member who has committed suicide. My son committed suicide, so I don't talk about this to anybody because it hurts me very much and becomes make me be very ashamed of this. So what do you see later? Another member of the family will commit suicide. Why? Because he will balance this to bring the balance back. When it happens, it's a kind of dysfunction in the family. It happens. And another member of a new generation come and do the same act. A pregnancy without marriage. What? Sometimes happens in the same generation. But it's it's over. You have to recognize. When we recognize, it comes the family to be harmonic. So in this case, it flows naturally. It's we call entangled. Can you see this? What is this? Entangled something that is very in a messy way. So, entangled with unhappiness from the past, family members often continue patterns of anxiety, depression, anger, guilt, fear, chronic illness, and unfulfilled relationships. You see this. All the time that happens, someone was excluded. There is a kind of entangled. And through the constellation, we try to make it be a harmonic to flow the family, the happiness, the health to be back. And we see patterns like this. It's common theme: a sad mother, a sad sister, a sad daughter, alcoholic father, alcoholic son. The relationship difficulties of the parents mirrored by the children. If I am not happy with my marriage, don't worry, my son will not be married with his Mary either. It will be very difficult for him. If I don't receive from my father the force, if I don't receive from my father the right energy, don't worry. I just can pass this to my son. And consequently, he will not be able to pass to my grandson. And it's a kind of pattern that is repeating over and over and over and over. So it's very difficult when we're talking, when we are in the private office, and psychologist private office, to see patterns repeating, 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 repeating. I'm not a good mother. I'm not a good daughter. I'm not. I'm not. I'm not. I'm not. I'm not. I'm not. So, imagine someone who has a woman who hasn't got married. Don't worry. That old maid in the family. There are many old maids in the family. So it's repeating. It's what is called the invisible loyalties that we have. When we start studying this, we become surprised. It's amazing. So many coincidences that happen in our family. Right? When I have a kind of crime, don't worry. Many other cases of crimes will happen in this family too. If it's not consistently recognized and honored and included this person who has committed this first. Right. Not necessary. Not necessary. Well, we need both, but of course we need much more the mother, right? Um, we need. We have many problem with drug addictions, and what can we see? A person who go to the drugs, who dive in the drugs, they have absent father. The father is not present. No, my father lived in the house, but he was not present in the relationship. You can see. And a mother is the worst person to treat someone who has drug problems, because mother is love, and much love, it doesn't help. Doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't help. It doesn't work. Right? The lack of father causes this. So both are important, right? An effective therapeutic process that helps to break destructive family patterns of unhappiness, failure, and addiction. The results are often immediate and life-extending. In a section, in only one section, you can have improvement in the family, in the relationships. And the most amazing thing I think is that, for example, you go to Constellation, your family. Your wife doesn't know you went to my office. But when you come home, something will change in the relationship of you. Something will change in relationship with your children. Something will change. It's something like you touch the soul of the family, the conscience of the family. And we can do this in group, and you can do this in privacy, individually. What is happening here when I see this? Something will happen at the end. We can see something like cause and effect. Uh-huh. A piece to pick up one. You can avoid to 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 fall down. It's a sequence. Cause and consequence. Cause and consequence. Cause and consequence. Cause and effect. Cause and effect. Cause and effect. Cause and effect. Aviation disaster. And here, what do you see? Kinda. You can see this is something a little more complex. It's not only cause and effect. It's linked. All the elements are linked. All the elements are linked. And some elements I even don't know that they are there, but I am affecting, and I've been affected. Systems we work are like this. Our body is like this. Our work organization in which we work, something like this. I do something, there are consequences, but immediate consequences. Correlating, that's right. So a system is a set of interacting or interdependent components forming an integrated whole. So it's a system. Our family is a system, our work is a system, our body, and they are all affecting and being affected by all of them. Even if we don't know, even if we are not conscious of this, but they are happening all the time. And we have systemic principles. The first one is belonging. If you were born in a family, if you die, you are still in that family. You belong to that family, right? But it was a mischarge. A mischarge. It was a here is in Libras. It's a mischarge. Foi aborto. Even though this one belonged to his family. When we are in a constellation, it was the first pregnancy of this mischarge. Yes. So he's the first one. He must be considered in this family because he belongs to this family, even if nobody talks about the family. And it's increasing when it's amazing when we are doing this. The dolls, the head it moves. When happens some kind of death, the dolls the is looking down. Then we ask, anybody died? Huh? Was there a mischarge? Any kind of this? Yes, there was one. Oh no, it was a father, it was a mother, it was a sister, so on. And we have another one, another principle, the balance of giving and taking. It's very important. because in all relationship, if you don't have this balance of giving and taking, look, I didn't put receiving, because receiving is something like this, right? Oh, you're receiving from me. It's different from taking. Give it to me. It's different. So in Portuguese, it's very difficult for us to explain this. Tomar is very difficult because we don't understand this. To take, to I take something. I take love. I take your energy. I like a son. I need your energy as a father. I need it. If I don't have this energy, I will not be a good man. I will not be a health man. I will not be a safe man to look ahead. I will be all unsafe looking at things like this. So I need to take the father energy as well as I need to take the mother energy. Precedence, chronological order. The first son, the second, and the third. Okay? So, but before we have a mother and we have a father. They came first. And for his love was generate the children, right? In the case that this one here, who is the eldest, comes here, the father goes to this place. And in some families we have what? A mother. It was supposed to be a father here, but we have the eldest occupying his places because the father is highly like children. Oh, who cares? He's not so important in this family. This son will decide the car that the family will buy, will decide the color the walls will be painted. He will decide everything. And the father, no, he's just watching TV. Oh, he's just drinking beer. Don't care. He's not working. Oh, and sometimes he works, he's providing the family, but he's not considered as the father because the son occupied his place. In this case here we have what? A balance, okay, but a dysfunction. Entangled. There is an entangled in this case here because it's not functional, this family. Many problems we'll have here. At the same time that we have what? The eldest occupying the place of the youngest. He is not considered by the other siblings. And what happened? Dysfunction the same way in this family. So you see, there are so many things that happens here in this constellation. Constellation is organization, right? In this organization, and when we put this in a way of order, what happens? Flows. It flows. A very interesting thing is the way you lay down in bed. Here in the headboard, here is the bed, the headboard. You sleep in this way, the right side, or in the left side? Cicero, right side, left side, you left side, left side of the bed. Your wife made the relationship. Poor guys. You sleep on the left. She is the boss. The big boss. If you want something different, if you want something different, try to change. If you try to change, you'll see it will be a little bit discomfort. That- Because you have to be more male. She's domaining all the time. Probably. Huh? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So when you are sat on a table, it's the same thing. If you are the right, you domain the conversation. If if you are on the left side, you say, "Oh yes, yeah, oh right, yeah, right, yeah, you're right, you're right, you're right, you're right." When you are walking with your wife or your girlfriend, look at the side she is and you are. If you are on the right side, you become masculinity, male, dominant. Take this way. It's not okay. Okay, so we have here three principles. When one of these principles are not respected, we have a dysfunction in the family. We have a dysfunction in the work. We have a dysfunction in any kind of relationship. Mm. No, uh, when you have an adopted child in a family, you have mm, mm, mm. Imagine this one. What we have to consider: his father and her mother. If this mother here does not consider the father and the mother of this child who has been adopted, there will be problem. Why? Because all the time the adopted child will uh, feel rejected. They will project a rejection in the fathers, the actual fathers who adopted her, projecting in the parents of origin parents. So it's very common. It's very common. So the mother and the father must recognize and honor the father who gave this child to this family here. It's not necessary for you to go to the people. In a constellation like this, it's incredible, but it makes us relief. We feel relieved with this, and the child too. Even if they don't know what's happening, it's incredible. I've done already. I have my son is adopted. Hmm. Rebelling. Hmm. Problem. Hmm. The children start rebelling to the adopted father. So parents. So we have a kind of scholar failure with the adopted child. Almost, you see, there are research that shows that almost 80% of adopted children have problems at school. Why? 80%. 80%, very high. It's a very high level. So you have here what? An adopted child have problem with math. Why? Because she is not connected with their biological father. She has problem with language. Why? She is not connected with the mother, biological mother, who is responsible for this. The language. I'm not good in math. I'm not good in Portuguese, for example, right? And I have a lack, a problem at school, but I don't know my history, so I will have problem with his. I don't know the my family history, so I will have problem with history too. Sometimes I don't know where I was born, so I will have problem with geography too. So you put together math, geography, history, so you have a student with problems at school. Naturally, you have, right? It's it shocks. It's shocking, right? But it happens. Right? So let's continue here. A family is the first system. The first system we have is the family system. Sure. Families are a system of interconnected and interdependent individuals all the time. To understand the individual, we must understand the family system of that person, surely. People cannot be understood in isolation from one another. And understand those who seek us out for help requires that we inquire into their connections and disconnections. Because when we have here in a constellation, we see I'm together with my wife, or I'm here and my wife there. And I see exactly the relationship that we have, or a disconnection. I have a wife, or I have a husband, and I have a wife, and the children here. What is happening here? This marriage, it's over. So it shows me the image, the inner image, the people, the client who goes there wants me to know. And he is surprising too. He's amazing. I didn't know that. I I was feeling, but I didn't know it was like this. You can show through the constellation. Uh, it's inner. It's inner. No, it's important not me, but the client has. If he says, no, we are all right here, I just ask, oh, you see this here is looking at the side and this to the other side, opposite side. And how is that? No, that's okay. So, no problem. But if, hey, watch, I'm looking this and she's looking the other side. And this image, he's gonna put it. The only thing I ask is, put your family here. And he start putting. Yeah. Oh, right, oh, right. The others, the future. No. The only problem is that I don't remember the question. Okay. All right. Here we have Bert Hellinger. He's a philosopher, pedagogue, theologian, psychotherapist, writer. He has written more than 40 books. German former priestess, and nominated for Nobel Peace Prize in 2012. Someone to be nominated for the Nobel Prize must be someone, right? Bert Hellinger, I think he's 90 years old. And his main influence, family constellation. Virginia Satie with family sculpture. You call people to put the sculpture of your family. And you invite people to come, a father, a mother, and put a sculpture. Who is watching this comes a lot of insights. You can see, father is there, mother is there, the sister is there, the brother, the aunt, and so on. And another thing is the Milton Erickson, the hypnosis. And when we are in a family constellation, there is a kind of hypnosis too. People comes a kind of trances, right? And becomes a little bit. It's not me; it's another person. Eric Berne transactional analysis, in which we have the scripts say, "Hey, guy, I am your father. You are my son." Uh, or, for example, "Dad, please bless me." It and you say, "I bless you, my son." It becomes so relief. You can imagine this when in a constellation it happens. Or, for example, "Mom, I need you. Please give me a hug." Huh? Or the mother, "Don't move, never move." The mother never moves. She stands like this when we are in a group. The only thing she does is this. And who comes? The children come. The child comes. It's very emotional, touching. And we have the invisible loyalties. Invisible loyalties is the case of suicide, the case of the old maid in the family, the case of crimes, uh, um, mischarges. There are some families that the first son always is mischarged, first child. Giacomo Moreno, psychodrama. And we have Artur Yanov, primal therapy. Primal therapy is very interesting. We put two people together, me and you. You are someone I don't like. You make me suffer very much, and Dilma, and I put all. You saying that, please? And you put all my anger in a feeling, in a letter, ah, and I say louder, until I got completely relieved from this. It's a kind of influence that we have in the family constellation. His formation as a priest, and Kathleen Keating, the hug therapy. It's very comfortable to have a hug. It's very good. So we have all of this influence for the family constellation. Frequent issues we have, the problems people bring to us, relationships difficult, family conflict, separation or exclusion of a family member, serious illness, cancer, for example, problems in childbirth or during pregnancy. Wait a minute. Whoop, whoop. Difficulties in dealing with loss of relatives, loved ones or romantic partner. Difficult in leading with money. You can put in a constellation, crimes, death, tragedies in the family, financial problems. Types of constellation. With representatives, we sit in a circle. We have a client, and he says, "I have a issue I'd like to treat here." What? "I have a problem with my son." Okay, choose someone to be you. Pa, you can be me, and you put here. Put here in this place here. Someone to be your son. Can you be my son? Okay, I put you. Someone to be my mother. Someone to be your sister. But you put people together. In a while, people start feeling some kind of discomfort, and we put to them to replace, to move, to make movements in the place, and they go when they feel more comfortable. And in what you see, relationships that shows. Sometimes you are my mother, and I look this, and it shows me that we are not okay. So I have to, as the one who is conducting constellation, to put We need a conversation. We need to dialogue. And we need to make peace. And because I need to take you, take your energy. If not, I will not be a good husband to my wife because I not a good son to you. I didn't receive enough energy from you, so I can repass it to others. It happens like this. It's very interesting. And one thing happens when I'm not, when I'm angry with my father or my mother. Don't worry, you are not going to be a successful guy. If you are not in peace with your parent or with your mother, you won't be a successful guy. You can't. You just can't. You must have a connection, a high connection with your father or mother. If you don't worry. You think you are always in trouble with money. You are always in trouble with. You are not succeed. Well, succeed. Worry. Worry. We have an individual. You can do this, and you put just on the floor some piece of paper, and people on the wall there was a target for this guy here. I did this at Caixa Econômica during the lunchtime. Here we can do this with cards, and it's very interesting. This is a section. No? Comes a lot of things. We do with Playmobil toys, figurines like this, wooden dolls. It's necessary to have this to point to redirection to know where the doll is looking at, right? Looking for. And we can do this with shoes too. When you do this with shoes, people put the finger there, or the stand on this place, and feel how it is. It's good to be here. Here in this case. For example, could be in the place of the wife. It's good to be here. We put the guy to be there. How do you feel? No, I don't. I don't. It's not okay to me here. What would your wife would do? Would talk to you now? Ah, you are a dog. Blah, 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 blah. That's interesting. And we have with this we call floor anchors, and we put on the floor. This we have for the man, the male, and this female. We put on the floor, and we have a constellation on the floor. Huh? Can do this. And we have these two with stones. It's very simple. We just choose one to be your father, choose one to be you, choose one to be your mother, your sister. And when you put this in a sheet of paper, what can we see here? Relationship. These here are together, this one is apart, and we establish a conversation between them. And it's very rich, it's very simple, and it's very rich. And everybody who takes part in a constellation becomes totally touched with this. And the family reacts the same way. It's incredible. Yeah. And we have an Ansel Adams quotation. He says, "You don't make a photo just with a camera. You bring to the act of photography all the pictures you have seen, the books you have read, the music you have heard, the people you have loved." So when we come to present a lecture like this, when you go to work with something, you bring everything from your life. uh, it comes with you together, right? And and we have here, I'd like to show you something about this. We have first a father, we have a father, and we have a mother. We have the children. Okay? Sometimes when I have a problem with this, what in a constellation I do? I put all the men of the family, and we see what happens. And the client put the finger here, and after that here, and the father and the grandpa and the previous, and how they feel, and got all the force. Sometimes that man is very weak, without energy. And when we put this, no, it's a mother. And after that, he's become a little more stronger. Just doing this, not more than this, right? Anybody would like to put a constellation here for us to see? Can be? uh, any question about constellation? So you ask the question, okay, and you repeat that question because they. Not my family was my family, my family, or not our family, but we don't, but everything. I mean, my family. There's a lot of studs in your family. Any question about this? Would you like to know to? The, uh-huh. 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 You ask me if do they accept the diagnosis? And after that, if they continue the treatment. When you this is a technique. I have a lot of other techniques that I use in the office, right? Here, when we're putting this, I see. I even don't say we're gonna do a constellation. No, there are some dolls. Put your family here, and we start talking. We're talking about relationship, only this. And what happens? Many of that problems, no, are solved in this session here. No, in the only one section, only one section. hmm In the first section, I have a problem with my husband. I have a problem with my wife. I have a problem with my girlfriend. Um, I I can't save money. I waste I make a lot of money, but I waste all my money. So you're gonna see what is happening. Who is on the back? People who are always who have financial problems. Probably they have problem with mother. Okay, the same way as we have people who have problem with obesity. Problem with mother too. And the first 2 years there was a cut, a disruption, and they were separated for a problem. Go to the hospital, a trip, something like this. So it will continue the entire life with problem. People eating, 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 but they are eating what? The mother. The lack of the mother, right? Mm-hmm. Sim. Sim, of course. If you have any question, please ask me. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. The question is when I'm working with couple problem, right? And when I'm working with couple problem derived from parents. Couple problems are problem with my parents. If I have a problem with my wife, it's not with my wife. Eh, no, it's not my fault. My parents' fault. Really, really. It's very dangerous. It's my parents' problems, right? And when I have a problem with my children, it's my parents' problem too. So I have to go to a solution. I have to be in peace with my parents, my father and my mother. But they they already died. No problem. We put the dolls here. Or as a representative, I ask someone, "Can you be my father?" Oh wait, I put here. You come here. Look at your father, and you start looking. In a moment the emotion come, and if you need to take him, you take, and you take the necessary for you, the enough for you. It's incredible, and it's very how in peace I feel after this action, right? And after that, you what you can see the difference between in relation with your family, with your children, with your girlfriend, with money. Problem with money you didn't have because what you got the energy of your father. Addiction. Addiction. Almost 100% addiction problem has to do with the lack of father. Lack of father. Why not? Good wines.